Right, so we head back to the track itself. Now, this is some of the views that we saw. Well, danger, deep water, keep out, and a life buoy, life-saving ring there. So just goes to show that the weathers can change. Here's the starting grid. It's going to be Joshua Sullivan and Max Grotrex on the front row. George Ralston and Harris Alley, row number 2, with Bobby Peete and Freddie Lines rounding up the third row. Row 4, it's Mason Webster with Alex Lynn alongside. Lewis Hall and Amy Peacock will complete the top 10 ahead of Ralphie Branscombe and Sam Hayes. Row 7, it's Larry Price and Freddie Hausago. Cameron Tipping, Jensen White, Rio Wardali and James Fabricius rounding out the top 18 positions. Quite an extensive rows in terms of the Honda Cadets. And then it's Max Hausago, Max Wheatley, Thomas Potter, younger brother to Catherine, with Joshua Owen, Max Gilman and Alfie Forrester. Next up, it's Stanley Clark, Ethan Charles, Scarlett Percox, Jensen Maplethorpe and Isaac Huburn rounding out the 29-strong grid. So you can see that the wetsuits are on. Wet tyres definitely very much case in point. And the meeting has now been officially declared wet by our race director, Luke Powell. A little bit earlier, just now, I've just seen. So the final bits of advice will be given to the drivers ahead of their first race of the day. Quite an extensive timetable as well. We've got a total of 4 Honda Cadet heats. The top 30 will make it through. So the top 20 after the first 4 heats will go through to the A final. And then, as we had back at Wilton Mill and at Fullbeck, we have a B final and we also have an A final as well. Rain is not letting up and the mist is coming in here at Rowrah. Far cry to the first time I visited this circuit back in 2018, and the sunshine then was quite prevalent. Good to see that the chat's still very much active. Lincoln Bevan saying, go JJ and Alex from the Isle of Man. So we will see how everyone gets on. There's Alex Owen, father to Joshua Owen, in the number 57. Excuse me. So with the format for today, it will be standing starts for some of the classes, which will be Honda Cadet and Junior Pro Kart. The remaining classes, so Micromax, Minimax, and Junior Rotax, will all be a dual file rolling start. That is customary in Rotax racing circles, and the drivers have been warned about moving outside of the tram lines ahead of this race weekend. So some great shots there of the drivers, some rocking the old GoPros. There is the number 95, James Winstanley. Claudia Bushby Racing wishing all the best of luck to Džiugas Pavilonis. That is a Lithuanian name. In Junior Rotax, Junior Torax. Claudia, have you managed to get your keyboard working yet? Sorry. Whoops, she said in the chat. Anna Hulin has said, good luck, Tom Drake. We're watching you all day today. Love, Mum. That's brilliant. That's what I love about karting, the family feel that we get. And so drivers getting their final instructions. Visors being wiped. They're going to need as much peripheral vision as possible, but it is not going to be easy. There's Bradley Shepard from BSR running a few of the drivers this weekend. He didn't have a great one in the mechanics and drivers dad's race last night, which was there was plenty of laughs. I was spectating as well. I will never get into one of those races because I know for a fact that someone will definitely make a beeline for me in turn 1. Brad Shepard I'm not going to get a Christmas card from Brad Shepard, I've just been told. Well, never mind. It's all about the bounce, isn't it? But ladies and gentlemen, we're not that far away from the wait being finally over, as these 29 Honda Cadets will be out on circuit momentarily. some great sweeping corners, especially going into the first part of the circuit here at Rowrah. The lovely straight where you've got all the way towards the Stewart-S's, you've got Iredales, you've got McRae's, quite a few corners here. There's Isabella Stansmore-Wilson, one of 16 drivers, being followed by the Driven Dreams project, which, as Matty Street said when he spoke to David Sullivan at the first round of the season at Fulbeck in Lincolnshire, he said, yeah, it was just an idea and I wanted to do something different. Well, knowing how hard Matty Street works, it's quite funny when I get WhatsApps at about 10 o'clock at night. He goes like, yeah, well, I work from like 9 to 7. And then, and then he gets his downtime and he says, well, it's not really downtime, is it? It's sort of, yeah, let's just see how things go. It's, but that's the way he works, and he's done so much tireless work behind the scenes to make things happen here for the CKC, which has tripled its numbers since it was inaugurated back a couple of years ago. And this is actually the very first circuit that the CKC visited when I had a chat with Matty. 25 drivers, and now we're over 100. That speaks volumes about the amount of hard work that he's done in order with regards to the team behind the scenes. I mean, normally I'm part of the social media team, which I was doing on duty yesterday. However, one of the benefits of being in this position, and I know that David Sullivan will testify to this, is that you're quite nice and warm where you normally are, whereas everyone else is having to brave the elements. So there's James Fabricius. Mark Hafford has just gone, rooting for you, HHG, #14. Marky Mark, and then 2 thumbs up as well in the chat. So a big thank you to everyone that's managed to join us here for live stream coverage. So it's going to be an exciting day for all involved, including myself in the commentary box here, just in the cafeteria overlooking the main start-finish straight. So it's going to be a lengthy day. We are going to have a lunch break a little bit later on, but the main thing is that these drivers have been chomping at the bit, waiting to go racing. Sarah Mason saying good luck to Jensen Mason, number 58, Junior Rotax, for your first ever time at Rowrah. Several drivers here, including the likes of Callum Foster, and who, funny enough, is literally half an hour away from me. He lives in Clacton-on-Sea, and look at the fog. It has literally blanketed over the circuit significantly. So the race director will be making a judgment call. We are waiting to see if that does occur. And from my perspective, you can just see how much trickier that circuit is just by looking at the main shots from the Alpha Live camera crew. And a big thank you to the team at Alpha Live for coming on board for 2022, really giving the CKC another burst of life, another bit of energy in the tank, so to speak, and to give us an opportunity to broadcast one of the many IKR series that are around the United Kingdom. But with the amount of work that, as I said earlier, goes on behind the scenes, really just shows how much this is going to be rather.
I'm trying to stay away.
I'm trying to collar Matty Street. Come on. Right, okay. Let's have a chat with the man himself. So when you're ready, Mr. Street. Morning.
Good morning. I have tried my best to stay away. I really didn't want to get pulled in.
Yeah, well, at least I thought I'd get it out of the way early. Weather conditions. Not exactly looking the greatest considering what we had on Friday and majority yesterday, eh?
Yeah, well, when we were setting up on Friday, I got sunburn. So,
oh, dear.
Yeah, compared to what we've got now, it's a complete contrast, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But obviously, you know, when we look at it from Luke, who's our race director, he's got to make a judgment call. And that very much the case is like your efforts in National Motorsport with Team Brit. Perfect example of that. When there's low-lying fog like this, it's going to be very difficult to make that call because safety is the main priority, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And you don't want to send anyone out onto the circuit when it's unsafe to do so. But the reason for the sort of slight hold-up now is they're waiting for the last couple of hundreds cadets to get ready to the grid. I think you've just seen one get gridded up there, so
yeah,
bit of a late arrival.
That's that's Rio Wardali, who finished 3rd in Stretton in his first year, aged 8, based out of Kettering from Northamptonshire. So quite a few drivers here. I mean, we were talking the other day. First ever race took place here. They're now coming in to go on their sighting laps. They have let them go. Matty, are you looking forward to the race day today, buddy? I know you're going to have a busy one.
Yeah, race days are always ones where it gets a little bit hectic, but you know, it's what we're here for, isn't it? It's why we travel all over the country, so let's get it underway.
Cool. Matty, I'll leave you to it. Matty Street, our championship coordinator and founder here at CKC. Good luck, Alfie Forrester. Good luck, James Fabricius. It is very, very bad weather, as pointed out not just by myself, but Claudia Bushby Racing on the YouTube chat. So 28 drivers circulating around this 1,030-metre circuit established back in 1963. Elevation change just under 20 feet. You can see there's standing water puddles as well, especially on the tight, twisty sections here at Rowrah. Some of the drivers trying to light up the rear tyres, so spinning the back axle out either left or right, just to try and see if they can get an additional bit of temperature, but that's not going to be easy, because the air temperature currently 9 degrees Celsius. Race meeting has been officially declared wet. So the drivers now making their way onto the starting grid. And as I said earlier on, it will be a standing start. So it's about gathering that momentum, making sure you don't spin up the rear tyres on the back axle, because that can cause you traction problems, and thereby that means drivers will get past you very, very easily, especially off of the start, and then that loses that momentum for the drivers. They're now trying to just position the karts into the respective grids positions. So pole position on the circuit here at Rowrah is on the right-hand side, so it will give those drivers on the inside run the best application going through into the chicane, which is rather gnarly at the best of times, as the dads and mechanics found out last night. I thank you. But that was they had a qualifying session, then they had a full-on race. I think even Matty Street picked up a trophy earlier on this morning during drivers' briefing. So the grid now being cleared of the mechanics ahead of our first race of round 3 of the 2022 CKC season. It's Honda Cadet Heat number 1. And we're going to see who's going to be there first. Revs rise. Lights are out. We're off and racing. And it's a good start from the outside of the front row as they hurtle their way, all 28 drivers, up into turns 1 and 2 for the very first time. It's going to be a little bit tricky. They've got to keep it... Oh, bit of a side by side. Mason Webster was on the inside. I think that was Rowrah Wardali going through, as they're going to be 2, 3, 4 abreast, going into the inside for the very first time, the inside hairpin. And we have had a couple of karts coming into a little bit of strife. As they make their way through, they're going to go down the back straightaway, heading through in towards the Stuart S's. Some drivers getting completely sideways as they're making their way down as the number 14. That's Isaac Huburn, sort of like saying, just calm it down a little bit. Come on, just calm it down. Harris Roberts trying to make his way up through the field. The youngster from Wales currently leading the Honda Cadet standings after 2 wins out of 2 in the finals, both at Fullbeck and Wilton Mill. We're into only the first half a minute of the race. You can just see how difficult the conditions are as they're making their way through the final corner here at Rowrah. Lap 1 in the books. It's James Fabricius leading the way. Harris Ali, Ayrton Rai, Larry Price up from 5th to 4th. Rio Wardali, Max Greytrex, Thomas Potter up 4 places from 11th to 7th place ahead of Jack Collinson. JJ Plowman rounds out the top 9 ahead of Alex Lynn, who completes the top 10. Harris Roberts now has dropped 3 positions down from 14th to 17th. So Fabricius sets the fastest lap on the opening lap as we're getting a little bit of a 3-way scrap between Thomas Potter, who goes up the inside. That would have been on Rio Wardali. And Max Greytrex keeps it ahead, but Thomas Potter nearly had an opportunity through that right-hand hairpin to get through on the pair of them. And Potter is now through on Greytrex, going through into the tight technical sections here at Rowrah, before they go through into places like Sunny Bend. 8 minutes and 8 seconds still to go, plus an additional lap. Fabricius has got a slender lead. Well, not that much of a lead, because right on his tail is the number 76, as it's side by side for 3rd position, as Larry Price trying to hang it round the outside of Ayrton Rai and goes across to take 3rd place on Well, Ayrton Rye having to try and battle away for P3, but Thomas Potter is absolutely motoring. The youngster in the number 20. Fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 5.032, 7.5 minutes to go. As it is side by side a little bit further back. One of which is the number 18. And that's going to be Ayrton Rye. Oh, Thomas Potter's had a little bit of a moment, and the back end on the runoff area just off of the hairpin. As there is the number 87, that's Cameron Tipping. James Fabricius has really not gotten away. All bit sideways there from the number 90, Jack Collinson. As more sideways action from Ayrton Rye, the number 18. They're really having to battle against the traction here at Rowrah. And, right, we've got one driver. Okay, so the race has now been neutralised. So the Battenberg flag has gone out. So that is the yellow and black flag. So the race has been neutralised with 7 minutes to go on the clock. Good to see my good friend from the Netherlands, Tommy van der Sloys, is also watching along. Hey, Tommy. Hey, Martin. Hope you're keeping well, guys. So the race has been neutralised. We do have possibility... right, medical staff are on the scene. Can't make out the driver at the moment. So the race has been neutralised. So the running order at the moment, the top 10 is James Fabricius, Harris Ali, Larry Price. Well, Harris Ali now showing as the leader, ahead of Larry Price, James Fabricius, Jack Collinson, Max Greatrex, Freddie Lines, Ayrton Rye, Sam Hayes, Alex Lynn and Max Williams. Harris Roberts has made his way all the way up to 11th position in the meantime, while some drivers like Thomas Potter, who's now sitting down in 13th position, having had some great battles with the likes of Max Greatrex, amongst others. So the full course yellow effectively is out. Stephen L says, good luck, Bobby Pete. Laura Beagle saying, good luck to Jensen White in the number 58. So now the kart and driver. Driver is walking away, which is the best thing possible. Sometimes you do have to make sure that safety is the biggest priority in karting. So we are still under full course yellow. Once the race director has said, yep, we can go green, the green flag will wave on the start-finish line, and then the drivers can hit the accelerators. So we're halfway through the race, 4 minutes and 55. Still to go. So the drivers will now have to wait until they get the opportunity to floor the throttle. Until that point, they have to be at half speed. The weather is still not letting up. There's plenty of hefty duffel coats and hoods and beanie hats and bobble hats I see from the commentary position. So everyone's trying to keep as wrapped up as possible and keep as dry as humanly possible in these very difficult weather conditions that we're having here at Rowrah. So the drivers making their way through towards the final corner at a slow pace. So Harris Ali is effectively the pace kart, followed by Larry Price. James Fabricius rounds out the top three. Green flag waves. We're back underway as Harris Ali leads the field. James Fabricius looking for a move, and he got there. He got through quickly on Larry Price going into the first chicane up the slight incline. So great move there from James Fabricius to textbook mash the throttle and go for broke. As there's going to be more battles for position. Round about 4th place at the moment. That's going to be between Collinson, Greatrex and Lines. 3 1/4 minutes still to go, plus an additional lap. As drivers making their way through. Looks like Harris Roberts has got a few more positions. The youngster running the tribute to Ken Block, the Hoonigan. But James Fabricius has a little bit of gap between himself to find on Harris Ali in the number 76. Based out of Middlesbrough. Had a good chat with him and his dad, with Harris and his father as well, a little bit earlier on this week, as they make their way through into the next part of the circuit, and we're coming towards the final corner. Fabricius goes on the defensive ahead of Larry Price. Collinson and Greatrex not too far behind. As they come across the line, another lap in the books. Lap 6 done and dusted. Harris Alley leads by just over a second from James Fabricius. Larry Price, Max Greatrex, Freddie Lines, Jack Collinson, Ayrton Roy. Harris Roberts now up into 8th place and charging forward. Thomas Potter is still the driver with the fastest lap out there. Will anyone be able to take that mantle from him in the next couple of minutes, as Fabricius again going defensive. Later on the brakes, goes sideways and Fabricius spins. Oh, he manages to catch the slide going through the corner, but he's dropped to several positions. Looks to now be chased by Jack Collinson, with Harris Roberts not too far behind. And there has been a change for, looks to be second position, so Larry Price now in third place, and that looks to be Max Greatrex in the 77 that has gotten through for second place. And we've just been, right, red flag has just been called. Red flag has been called with 1 minute and 50 seconds on the clock. So I would imagine that is more than likely going to be a race stoppage, and that has been called by our race director. So looking at the results, your provisional winner is Harris Alley in the number 76. And the timing showing that, well, James Fabricius was second at one point, but then he had a moment going through the infield hairpin. So, as we now give you a bit more of an overview of the track, despite the very, very foggy conditions, I am waiting for any sort of further notifications, but the timer is still ticking down. So the weather has... yeah, I've just been informed by Matty Street that because of the low-lying fog, we are on red flag conditions. A very, very prudent call from our race director, Luke.